All right, guys, I decided to put together a video on becoming a marijuana caregiver. I'm getting asked every question there is on the caregiver subject, so I thought a video is a good way to put it out there. This is video one of many. This one's going to be the things you need to consider before you become a caregiver. First thing is your space. Your space is a big part, man. Think about this. Yeah, I want to grow for 5 people, but do you have the space to grow for 5 people? Okay, that's huge. Think about that. I would recommend at least a 5x8 area per patient. If you want to combine all those in with somebody, you can, all your patients in one room. Ideally, it would be nice to separate it. More control. Think about those things. Think about if you have enough space per person you're planning on growing for. Secondly, your startup costs. Your startup costs first are going to depend on if you're growing with soil or if you plan on growing with hydro. Soil is going to be a cheaper way to start. I'd say you can start off for around $1,000, your basic setup, nothing too fancy, for one patient. Hydro, I'd say you're probably, depending on the system, how advanced you want to go, how much work you want to be cut out by all the components that you pick, around $2,000 to $3,000 for a nice system to start. So those are things you're going to want to think about. Your nutrients. Your nutrients can be a big part of your hydro cost. A couple $100 a month, but now keep in mind, I know that sounds expensive, couple $100, but dude, you will get that back in your yield alone with hydro. I advise growing with hydro. Try it out, man. Secondly, your electricity system, guys. All right, first, don't start growing for 5 people with 1930s electrical system. You're going to be blowing fuses. It's not going to work. You don't have enough juice. You need to call an electrician, discuss with your electrician how many watts you're planning on using. One person, it's probably going to be around 800 watts, 1,000 watts electricity. So if you're growing for 5 people, keep that in mind. It's going to cost you a little bit for electricity to get it up to code. You don't want to be starting fires. All right, guys. Next, okay, the time it takes up. Oh my gosh. It takes probably half of my time, my personal time, I put in towards my garden. I'm growing for 2 people plus myself. I have 36 plants. That takes a lot of my time. As far as my hydro, I'm emptying out my reservoirs once a week. I'd say per person, I'm dumping probably about 5-6 hours minimum a week per person. It's a full-time job. Some aspects, I keep it clean. I keep my garden extremely clean. So of course I'm going to spend more time in there. I could trim that time down, but that's how I grow my garden. So these are things you're going to want to keep in mind when you grow yours. The time that's going to cost you. Think about that stuff. Next, your security. Okay, this was an issue for me. I live in an area where there is some crime. So basically, with all the stuff I'm throwing outside, all my grow containers, all my stuff, it's not uncommon for people to understand this guy's growing. It's very big in Michigan. A lot of people understand there's grow ops popping up everywhere. A certain amount of people might take advantage of that. So you want to look into maybe a security system like I did. Definitely lock doors. Check into that stuff. Security is going to become a problem when you have around $50,000 of product in your house. So think about that, guys. Next, your transportation. Okay, myself, I offer transportation of the product for the people, my patients. 2 of them I do. Basically, I drop it off for them. So I need to make sure my car's running right. Oh, I can't get your medicine because I got a flat tire. These excuses are not going to work, man. You need good transportation. You need to have that stuff thought of. You need to have, I will be able to get your product to you once a week. I'll show you some paperwork that you can sign with those guys, with your patients that will go over a planned schedule. So those things you're going to want to think about. Your transportation, getting to the guy's house to deliver the product safely. Let's see. Now your kids and family. This was a little bit of an issue with me. I do have a young daughter. My wife felt uncomfortable with me growing initially. security reasons mainly, I guess. But think about that. If you got some older kids, maybe they might pinch your stash, you know, if they're 18-year-old kids or something, still living at home with you. Think about that, guys. Next is your odor, bud. Your odor, depending on the amount of patients that you're going for, how many plants you have, can be a big issue. If you're going for 5 patients, your house is gonna stink. Plain and simple, it's gonna stink. You might get used to it, be like, it don't smell that bad, it doesn't smell that bad. But I'm telling you, your house stinks. Look into a filtration system. If you're dumping that air up out your roof, is it going into your neighbor's house? Those are things you need to think about, guys. Before you start growing, think about these issues. Basically, at the end is your monthly cost. As far as your electricity bill goes, these things can get out of control. So when you're picking out your lights, definitely trim everything down that saves you the most electricity, because these things add up. I would advise LED lighting because that cuts your electricity bill basically in half. Think about these things before you start. Electricity bills can run, I'd say, up to $500 to $800 for 5 patients. Myself, growing for myself and 2 patients, my electricity bill is around $350 every month. So think about these things. I'm gonna cut a couple more videos on some other things. They're definitely valuable information that you must know before you become a caregiver. Check it out.